Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Okay. That works. Uh-huh. Hello. Okay, 4 minutes to go. Mhm. All right, 3 o'clock. I am live here on YouTube, but I think nobody's watching right now, which is fine. I mean, this is a recording. So, what, I don't have a perfect setup right now. I'm sitting in my bed here, my Airbnb in Raval in Barcelona. A really nice part of the city. It's very, well, I would say very old. It was a workers' barrio, like a place where workers lived, and it's a very interesting and yeah, very interesting part of Barcelona here. Anyway, let me just check. Nobody's watching yet. I'm a little bit nervous because, well, not nervous in the way that I feel like I'm super nervous, but Today at 7:30 p.m. I have a talk at Elisava. This was kind of a spontaneous thing, and it just was announced. I learned about it last week. So last week this date was fixed. That means today I have to kind of be a little bit economic with my cognitive power. I think I won't do a too long stream today, just to make sure I won't lose too much energy. So I guess the talk will be in front of a few hundred students, I guess, and which is super exciting. Also, it will be streamed to YouTube at the channel of Elisava. So I will post that link. Where should I post the link? Well, it is on my website, and I will post it on my website later on. Oh no, this Elisava channel is already posted to my website. I will show you where. So here. So if you go to my website, there we go, and then you click on this first post, you will see that here is the time, March 8th. This is today, and here you can click to tune in. And I will later on I will share the recording of that video. I will embed it to my website here. Right? Okay, let's see. Is there anyone? No one is there. Wow, that's so sad. I don't know if Kevin is there. He told me, Instagram that he's going to join. But yeah, the problem of the stream was that I didn't announce it last Friday, but I didn't put the link into the Patreon post, which was my fault. It was a little bit like, I don't know, a little bit my fault. Let me ask Kevin if he's there. Oh my God. Yeah, cool. This series of live streams, well, where's my, let me go, here. Okay, this series of live stream is called Vera, Molnar, Reconstructed. We are dealing, or I'm recreating compositions by the amazing artist Vera Molnar. She lives in Paris right now, is I think 100 years old or something, maybe a little bit older already. And yeah, she's an icon of creative coding and do the art with computers and with programming. And we reconstructed some of her works in the last weeks. Today, we also want to do exactly that. I will go to Google, image search, and then I will say Vera Molnar. And I think for today it would be nice to do something a little bit easy. So I think this is a really nice example. Wait, this is something we could build, right? It's not too complicated, but something like that. And I also would like to try to maybe stack two of these elements on top of each other, maybe a little bit more regular, and then rotate one of these to get a moiré effect, which is also pretty nice. So let's do exactly that. I hope it is not too loud. There are like cars and skateboarders here crossing the street. I'm very close to the MACBA, which is a museum here in Barcelona. And the cool thing about it is that it is allowed to do skateboarding there. So they are all like, the whole skateboarding scene meets at MACBA. And this is pretty awesome to see these young people there. Okay, let me also go to my phone and just open the YouTube app. Go to the stream and make sure I see the stream here synced to my phone. My channel, let's go to live. I am live right now, but it's not listed. Of course. I think I have to list it, make the video open for anyone. It's a little bit strange that nobody comes here. Okay, now it is public. Let's go there. There we go. Cool. Okay, clicking on the link. And there I am. Nice. Okay, I know that I can also, see the chat. here. All right, that works. Nice. Okay. Yeah, why not just starting right away with coding the piece of Vera Molnar? And yeah, let's do exactly that. So here we start with the size function and set the size of the sketch to 900 times 900 pixels. And I fear, oh, sorry. Of course, I have to show you the screen here. Here we go. Okay, I will set the background to white. And I will translate the whole system, the whole coordinate system, to the middle of the sketch window. Width divided by 2 and height divided by 2. And then I will create a rectangle first. That is positioned centered. So rect mode should be set to center. And this rectangle should have a size of, let's say, 100 pixels. Sorry. Position should be 0, 0, and the size of 100 times 100 pixels. So I even could use the square function instead. Square. I think I will keep it as this. So we'll use square now, and let's run the code. How does that look? Okay, cool. We've got a square in the middle of the sketch window. Now I will set the stroke weight to 10. Or let's say 5. And deactivate the fill. No fill. Cool, nice. Here we go. There's a square in the middle of the screen. Nice. All right. Okay, so to achieve or to make sure we can build something like this here, we need a for loop. And this is a quite interesting challenge because I would like to do this first of all in a very regular way. That means I will have squares of the same size and make them, start in the very middle and make, each of these a little bit larger. So we, let's say, distribute 10 squares over the size of the whole sketch window. Let's see how that works. Well, first of all, I would create a for loop for int I equals to 0, then I is smaller than 10, I plus plus, parentheses. And then I have 10 squares stacked on top of each other. And then I think, yeah, I would say I times 10 defines the size of the square. Let's see what happens then. Okay. So the stroke weight is 5. And because, yeah, when I would have 4, there should be a gap between these rectangles. Yeah, as you can see, that's the case. Maybe this is a little bit too small, but first of all, I should set the stroke color to black. And now I can control how these squares get styled and filled. That's nice, right? That's cool. Okay, so the challenge now is, hey, there's somebody, hey, Sistema Futuro, nice to have you here. We are 6 people now, amazing. Great, feel free to comment here. I'm very happy to see your faces, or let's say read your names here. Hey, Nicolas, nice to have you here, peace. Cool to see you guys. So the challenge I wanna, what I wanna achieve now is that these rectangles get distributed over the whole sketch window, depending on the amount of tiles or of rectangles. So let's store the amount of rectangles in a variable called amount. And I set this to 10, and I replace the 10 here in the for loop with the variable amount. And then I needed another variable that is called, let's say, distance from the center. Nah, let's call it width, because it's basically or size. But size exists as a variable type, as a predefined variable, so let's take S. Let's just call it S. So S is the width of the sketch window divided by amount, I think. Hey, more people. Hello. Hi to India. Nice. Wow, that's cool. People from, what's your name? Shakal. Nice. Kemuri. Hey, nice to have you here. Okay, let's run the code. And let's say, yeah. So this doesn't make any sense because maybe this should be called step, because this is one of the steps that should be made when we scale these rectangles. Yeah, we'll just replace the 20 with step. Wow, that worked pretty well, right? How many rectangles do we have now? One, here's a very small one in the middle. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Amazing. Wow, that worked. That was pretty easy. So that means we, in theory, should have the possibility to say something like map, and then put mouse X into the map function, comma 0, comma width. So this is the initial range, and then we put it to, let's say, 2 and 100. And that way we can control the amount of rectangles with the mouse. Wow, trippy, right? So, and here we already get some nice moire effects. Oh, I love this so much. It's amazing. Yeah, so that's pretty cool, because now we can set the amount of tiles based on the X position. Does it make sense? Yeah, that makes sense. And here they appear and they get more. And if I get the mouse to the right, we have 100 rectangles at all. Very cool. Let's fix this to, let's say, again, let's say we want to have about 20 for now. That's nice. So we have 20 of these, and then I would like to know what is the value of step. So what is the value of step? We'll log it to the console, 45. All right, that's cool. So we could also set the stroke weight based on the step. Let's just try that by saying what happens if we say stroke weight should be step divided by 2. Oh wow. Ah, of course the mouse doesn't work anymore. Fine. Let's say divided by 4. So this is pretty cool, because now I guess, I'm not really sure if that's true, but I guess that the distance between these rectangles is exactly the value or the width of these strokes of the rectangles, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, looks nice. Okay. So in the work of Vera Molnar, it is quite kind of a replacement that happens here, right? So these rectangles get replaced. Well, I'm thinking about something else. I would like to have a wave that controls, let's say we stack 2 of these systems. You know, this is a very spontaneous idea, something that I've tried before, and I know that it looks amazing. That's why I would like to show it to you. So what if we take exactly this stack of rectangles, put the same thing on top of it, but with the difference that this is rotated slightly. This will end up in pretty amazing effects. I will show you what I mean. Let me just save this to my desktop. I will call it Molnar 3_01. And now, when I will first of all put the translate function here, delete the print line function, and wrap the system into, well, wrap this into a new coordinate system. Push, pop, and I will copy exactly that again, and say here I would like to have a rotate function. So, well, first of all, let's run the code and see how that looks like. It's basically exactly the same. So these are 2 times the same stack of rectangles, you know, put on top of each other. And here I will create a rotate function. Rotate. I will let's put radians in here and say frame count to make it rotate the whole system. And look what happens now. This is pretty awesome. Check this out. Whoa! This is a so-called moiré effect, right? Moiré effect means when you have two different grids or two different, oh, well, this is not actually a grid, but you know, if you have two different regular structures and you place them on top of each other, you get these very interesting patterns that just, you know, happen or become visible because these these elements are rotated in a way. We could make this a little bit more pretty by controlling it with a wave. Let's say we have a floating point value called wave, and we say equals to map sine radians. So we are creating a sine wave here. So we put the frame count in here and say it's between -1 and 1. This is the initial value, and we want to have it between -45 and 45. An easier way to do this would be, and I will do this exactly now because we don't need a map function. Actually, we can just delete it here, and instead of, yeah, we can just multiply this by 45. This would end up in the same result, and we'll put the wave variable into the rotate function here. Let's see how that looks like. Wow. That's pretty amazing, right? I love that. Okay. Pretty cool. Let's say we want to rotate by 12 degrees instead. So not too much. This is a little bit lighter, but still a super flashy effect. And now we can play with this system a little bit, like tweaking the values and see what comes out of this if we, I don't know, change some of the parameters. Let's say we want to have the double amount of tiles. Whoops, 40 instead of 20. Run the code. Then something like this happens, right? It gets more complex. Or we want to have just 10 of these, and then it becomes more simple. Also nice, right? Well, since I will save one of the versions here, I will put it to, you know, create a second piece of code. Now, the cool thing is the square function works exactly like the circle function. So I can just replace the word square with circle, run the code and see what happens then. Oh, of course, I have to replace it at both places. And of course, nothing happens because when a circle rotates, you don't see anything because it's just, you know, nothing happens here. That makes a lot of sense. But what we can do is we can take that wave and instead of rotating it, we can put it to the x position here. So saying translate width divided by 2 plus wave, right? When we do that, we get, oops, wait, we should amplify this a little bit, let's say by 100. Wow, que pasa? That's pretty awesome, right? So this is a circular Mori effect. And I will change the amount of tiles to 30 for now. Let's see how that looks like. Wow. At some point it just, you know, I don't know why, but it's kind of stuttering. But it's really nice that these rays get just unfolded, right? This is pretty awesome. Put it to 20 and maybe amplify the range. Well, let's say the magnitude of the wave a little bit. Yes. That's pretty cool. Okay, now I have an idea, like, let's just eliminate one of these loops and just make sure we have only this. Okay, we save it to another file or another version of it, like Molnar 2_04. And then we, look at this. Now I can change the dimensionality of the sketch to put it to P3D. And we are really leaving the space of Vera Molnar. Maybe we should put it back to square to make sure we are a little bit in Vera Molnar's visual space, visual world. And then I would like to rotate each of these rectangles. Well, let me just show you how that looks like now. So I would like to rotate each of these rectangles a little bit different to make it like a mobile, like a, you know, like a three-dimensional mobile. Let's see how that works. So I will put another push and pop function to that piece here. Push and pop, creating a new matrix. I will set the stroke weight to back out of the for loop because it's unnecessary to run the stroke weight function inside of the for loop. It would just be run multiple times, which costs performance. Doesn't make any difference here, but it's always nice to have clean code that is not too, you know, consuming too much power. All right, now we can say translate. No, we don't need to translate it because it's already translated to the center. So now rotate y parentheses radians, and I can just put I into it to make sure every of these little rectangles gets rotated a little bit more. Just I plus I plus I. Maybe we should amplify this a little bit by saying I times 3. And if I run the code, it will look a little bit like a mobile. Let's see. That's true. Wow. Okay, didn't really expect that, but it's actually what I wanted, I think. Yeah, okay, cool. And then let's also add the frame count to the value, plus frame count. And then it will rotate around its own axis. Pretty awesome, right? So now we have kind of a three-dimensional object that we just created. Maybe we should amplify this value by, let's say, 10 instead of 3 and see how that looks like. Okay. That's pretty awesome. Yup. So we could also say, right, now, or we could also say, why don't we just rotate it on both axes, like x and y? Run the code and see what happens. Okay. That's pretty nice. I like that. I will create a variable where I store the factor in a variable called f, set it to 10, and then put it here, like there, and see what that does. That's pretty cool. Save it again, make another version of it, and this is how I do creative coding. This is a sketching practice, like a best practice for sketching. Always save the states. Don't save everything in one file, just make it one by one. If you have a good idea, create a variation of it, like a derivative. That's something I'm creating a course about soon, hopefully. Yeah, be prepared for that. Okay. The factor should be maybe 20. Let's see what happens then. I just added many more tiles to it and now it gets chaotic. So there's a point, like a threshold, when things get too complex. And I've got 40 pieces here, and since the factor is very high, it gets chaos. Let's halve the factor here to 10. It's nice. You can see a bit of the logic in it. It is still a little bit chaotic, but and it also appears at some points to be not really belonging together, but it is still one system that that does this. Doesn't make any sense what I'm saying here, but anyway, let's set the factor to 5. Let's see. Now it becomes more like one thing that, you know, that belongs together. By the way, what happens when we take the stroke weight and divide it not through 4 but through 2? Because now, yeah, okay. Also very interesting. It's a bit more bold. Let's set it to step. Let's see if we, again, half the value. you know, or make the value double the value. Nice. So that's a nice trick to, you know, I'm really swimming far out here. I'm very far away from the actual visual, but that's a nice trick to get, let's say, it's sometimes very interesting if you if you vary the fill of the elements, and I often use a modulo operator to do so. So I say something like if I is modulo 2, that means every second element equals to 0, right? Then do this. Otherwise, well, let me think. Yeah, then do fill should be F1, F1, F1. So this is the basic white I'm also using for the background. Otherwise, it should be, where's the fill? Sorry, not fill, but stroke. Sorry for that. Stroke here, right? Otherwise, do this. Okay, this is a little bit difficult to read. Let me just make this a bit more pretty for you. So here we go. Like if I is modulo 2, stroke, else stroke black. Like stroke white and stroke black. Okay, let's start at the start and see what it looks like. Wow, this is trippy, right? So it becomes more like a, I don't know, like a, how are these things called? Like an op art piece, like it's becoming op art. We could try to amplify the stroke weight pretty much to see what happens then. Let's say we want to have like a stroke weight of, let's say 50, pretty bold. And by the way, hello, Fred is also here, nice, hello. This happens then. Cool, right? Okay, enough of the, you know, let's make it again a little bit more, you know, a little bit more simple, and say stroke weight should be 10. Nice. And also, instead of rotating it on the one axis, I will put it back to just one axis of rotation. I will, oh, this is amazing, right? I love that. That's pretty awesome. I love that very much. That's really cool. Very elegant. Save another version of it, like 6. Let's say the amount should be 20 to make sure it is not too many, just half of the amount. Yeah, this is pretty graphic designy again, which I really like. So what happens, well, let's put it back to 10. What happens when we also alter the X position of this piece with a wave, with a 10 wave? Float wave 2 equals to 10 radians frame count minus 1, comma 1, comma minus 50, comma 50. Sorry, I'm not, I wanted to map it, but I don't need to map it actually. I just can say times 50. That's easier. Exactly. When can I say something like wave 2, comma 0? Okay, now it's the whole thing is like, you know, moved by the 10 wave, but what I wanted is, I want to have the 10 wave influenced by the incrementer here. And then each of these tiles or each of these rectangles or squares will move a little bit like offset it in time. That's pretty awesome. Hey, Lapa Mandura from the chat. Nice to have you here as well. I use processing. Processing is an amazing programming language for creative coding. You can download it for free, and it's a really, really nice environment. Yeah, Shaka, I am sharing the code, but on Friday via my Patreon channel. So if you want to get the code, you just go to my Patreon. You have to sign up for that, but then you get the code and can download it. I will share it on Friday as a post. All right. Cool. Well, we can amplify this by saying times 150. Okay, I'm amplifying this. No, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to amplify the incrementer. Let's say times 10. What happens then? Probably it's pretty much too chaotic. Wow. That's nice. That's really nice. I just realized right now that the rectangles have a weird gap, like where they, where they meet, where they get together. So I think I can change this by saying stroke cap rect. Let's say if that's true. No, this doesn't do anything. So the edges are a little bit rounded. Stroke join, maybe. I want to have it really rectangular, very straight. Nope. Also doesn't do that. I mean, well, it's okay. I could go the long way and, create this with vertex, but, I don't want to do that. Okay, cool. What happens if we just change this to 10? Also pretty nice, right? So I like the simplicity of this very much. It's awesome. Just like having a little bit like a, I don't know, like a simple system. Not too many elements. And that way we can also understand better what happens actually here. Well, I will answer your question from the chat. If it is considered as Python, no, processing is based on Java. And Java, well, it basically doesn't make that much difference. Of course, Python is a completely different syntax than Java. But yeah, processing itself is a language. So yeah, it's quite easy to learn. Most of the people from the chat can probably relate to this. And yeah, isn't it nice? I love that. Let's amplify the rotation a bit. So the factor here is the controls the rotation. Let's put it to 10. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. Oh my God, I love this. So cool. Maybe you've realized that I also, well, in the last streams, I went very simple. Let me just switch to my full screen thing. In the last streams and also even in the last month, I've been, let's say, going back to the very basics and starting to explore what is possible with very, very simple geometric compositions. One of the reasons is that I realized that many people think that I'm teaching processing, but my main focus is more on teaching creative coding. So I find it super important that my students and my patrons and my community understands that it is all about, it is not really about the language, but about the process and the method that you learn how that works. So what I did actually here was pretty much creative coding in the purest sense. And to make sure you understand what I'm talking about, I want to show you one of the chapters from my master thesis. What is creative coding? It's a blog post, you can find that. And by the way, if you look for creative coding on Google, you will find this page right at the top, which is pretty amazing, I think. So this is a very nice definition by Mitchell and Baum that I found in the amazing doctoral thesis by Stig Hansen. And it says, creative coding is a process based on exploration, iteration, reflection, and discovery. Well, let's think about, well, let me just read the whole thing here. So, where code is used as the primary medium to create a wide range of media artifacts. Let's quickly think about what that actually means. So, creative coding is a process. That means it is not really a method or a tool. People often are confused to understand exactly what that means. So it's just a dialogue that you have with the computer, and it reflects your thinking, and you write your thoughts with code and play with the code you write. Like, you make iterations and explore ideas that you find interesting, build upon these ideas. So in general, creative coding is pretty much unbound to a final product or final result. That means it's not about creating something very specific. It's more about something you do, right? It's something you spend time with, writing code that actually creates a visual and playing with that code. It's a very playful thing you do. And, oh, sorry, as I see there is no, I didn't share the screen to show you that quote, but it's on my website here. And this is the address. You will find it in my blog easily. Just probably if you just go to the search and put what into it, you will find that quickly. Yeah, I think this is very important to understand. It is a process, and this process is what you do. It is unbound to a final result. So what I often find confusing, if you say Wikipedia and look for creative coding, then you come to this article here, and this comes with a few pretty, let's say, well, I would say it's quite a confusing definition, and it's also excluding some, well, maybe this is a little bit bold to say, but I would say it's not a really appropriate definition because it's very bound to specific media. So it says creative coding is a type of computer programming in which the goal is to create something expressive instead of something functional. Okay, I agree, but then it says it is used to create live visuals and for VJing, as well as creating visual art and design, entertainment, art installations, projections, and so on. So as soon as you start to list things you could do with that, is like, let's say, defining eating by listing things you could eat, right? Or playing by listing games you could play. Well, what kind of games would you list then, right? What is the first game you would list? Like chess or Lego or Counter-Strike? You know what I mean? So this is a little bit weird because this definition is important, because understanding how creative coding works enables you to really benefit from its opportunities, because as soon as you understand that it's all about creating all these variations, and I will create a course on the methodology how to do that, hopefully, I don't know when, but it's already in my head and I'm thinking about this. So you start to see creative coding really as a sketching process. It's something you do to create many sketches and variations of these sketches. And this, what happens then is the following, like you get well, as a graphic designer, for example, I am getting, or I've been creating like hundreds and hundreds of posts in the last weeks, in the last years. And I use Instagram pretty much as my sketchbook. So, and this is amazing because all of these visuals you see here, or most of them, well, some are also announcements of events and streams and whatever. But you know, all these things that you see here are just completely let's say, completely unbound to a specific project. That means creative coding is, let's say, it's about maybe non-commercial design, or, well, it's a very bad way to put this, sorry. It is something that is pretty much more in the sphere of art, but I'm using the tools of graphic design, let's say, or let's say the media of graphic design to do creative coding. But you also could do it with music, with architecture, with 3D, with text, whatever, right? So creative coding is, first of all, completely unbound to the medium. Can you follow me anyway? Do you know what I'm talking about? Does it make any sense? Let me check the chat. Yeah. Yeah, nice. Thank you for all these quotes. Thanks. Yeah, so this is something I try to teach my students, because the decision to learn creative coding doesn't have to do with a medium you want to work with in the end, because learning creative coding is very difficult. It takes quite a lot of time compared to, let's say, using a user interface like After Effects if you want to do motion design, for example. But it pays off because on the long run, you learn things that you would never learn anywhere else, like also in computational thinking. And yeah, it's difficult to explain, but maybe we can keep it as it is for now. Feel free also to check out my doctoral thesis, for my master thesis. I don't have a PhD, but I wrote a master thesis, and here you find the, well, here, creative coding as a school of thought, and here you find these 4 essays I wrote about creative coding, how you could look at it. And yeah, writing this thesis really helped me to clarify for myself and for my teaching, for my students, what it actually could be, what it is, and so on, and what it was. Nice. Okay, it makes sense to you. That's very nice to hear. Thank you so much. Yeah, I will have a talk tonight at Elisava. This is one of the most renowned universities for design in Spain. I don't know if that's true, but it's a super modern, really amazing university. I will speak in front of quite a, maybe 100 or more students, which is very exciting. So you can watch the live stream on the Elisava channel. Let me just go to the Elisava channel, and we have got 11 people live here. Amazing. All right. By the way, can you hear that dog? It's very loud here in my Airbnb. Very bad. Sorry for that. YouTube, Elisava. Open it here. Maybe the stream is already posted. Let's see. Nope. Nope, it isn't. But I guess here you will find the stream, and then you can follow me. I would love to see some of your faces there. Well, I wouldn't see your faces, but I would love to. My God, it's so annoying. Like two dogs fighting out there. Anyway, I would love to have you on a stream. And I think for now it would make sense to stop this now, and I will send the codes on Patreon on Friday. And yeah, if you want to join the stream, I would love to have you there. All right? Then I would say have a wonderful day. Greetings from warm Barcelona. It's really nice here right now. Sun is shining. Even though I've spent the whole day here in this room because I was chilling and preparing myself a little bit. Yeah, have a great day, and I'm looking forward to see you next time.